Alright, shed update for everyone. It's been a little while, but we've got some fairly fun visual progress of sorts. So last night I constructed a rudimentary sandblasting booth, which seems in and of itself to be working quite well. So I strung up some pallet rack beams I had lying around, bungee corded them to the garage door frame, and then either screwed or zip tied, depending on the area, these tarps up, and that is working beautifully. I got, as luck would have it, I got a 23 by 11 tarp, and I got an 11 by 11, so that worked out nice. I got one opening, works out. Yeah. So we've got, like I said, it's a pretty rudimentary setup. We got it weighted down with blocks of wood. We got a window screen off my house to screen the sand, and we've got about 100 pounds of garnet abrasive. So that is working fairly well. Surprisingly little sand loss. I've been kind of keeping an eye on just the total volume when I sweep up, and it's staying pretty consistent, so that's kind of fun. Decent progress, I guess. Been using that some too for the smaller parts, just because it's a little bit less grueling. So let's see. We've got 6 doors done. Those 2 are sanded and prepped. These are just raw out of the blaster. All in very good condition, some minor dings, but nothing too radical. I'm very pleased with how little the blaster is warping it. I think because those are reinforced. Again, one of the reasons I have tried to find older style cabinets as opposed to the early 60s ones is the older style ones have this dish and their sound editor in there, so that these are much more solid and I think a lot less prone to warping. So it'll be interesting when I start blasting the sides of these. Not that I really care, but I was more worried about the doors warping, and it seems that those are not. Anyways, got 6 doors blasted, 3 drawers done, and then one of the sink doors. The other sink door has proven to be quite evil. There's about 5 layers of crappy house paint. The inside blasted alright, but the outside has proven to be a nightmare, so I think that's going to get set in the house where it's warm with some paint stripper, just to speed things up, because that is miserable. Yeah, so that's kind of been what's been going on here. I think I filmed my drawer slide project, so that came out good. Let's see. There we are. Yes. So the Frankensink, as some people have called it, came out beautifully. I am very happy with how all the drawers fit. For the most part, doors are off of it, obviously, but I got everything mocked up to verify square and fitment to the sink and everything, and I am very pleased with this. So I think to the casual observer, no one will ever know that this is, in fact, a facsimile. But yeah, so that is exciting stuff. Cool to see that kind of all in one piece. But the problem I've been having is with the sandblaster. So this is probably a 30-year-old Harbor Freight unit. It's a pretty valiant unit when it cooperates, but as with anything, it's been finicky. Same thing with that. Everything that can fail seems to fail, especially when it's cold out like this. I now have a good supply of air, which is nice. I've never had that before in my life, but now I have a good supply of air. But that seems to highlight all the other problems that these units will have. I've been having problems with icing. The hoses themselves will ice up, so I need to switch out hoses every couple of hours and thaw them out in the house, because just moisture freezes, and then it's very restrictive, so you don't have sufficient volume of air. The blaster gun, particularly in the cabinet, has been icing up. Haven't had that problem with the bigger blaster yet, but the valve in here ices up, and then The porcelain nozzle, I get ice buildup in there, and then it doesn't really work with the dam. So that's fun. But the problem I've been having mostly that I really can't deal with is the sandblaster, for reasons unknown, seems to be pumping out way too much sand to not enough air. And there's plenty of air volume because when it runs out of sand, it blows out a lot of air. But when it's full of sand, it just churns out way too much, and there's not enough air velocity with the sand coming out to really do any work. It just kind of bounces off the metal, and it doesn't work. And then when it's out of sand, if you like tap the side of it as it's running out, it blasts beautifully because the ratio is correct. And so what I think is going on, this is the splitter at the bottom. So this is air through for the hose, and then that goes up into the tank, and the tank is pressurized, and that goes out to the blaster head. I think that this opening is either worn out or was too wide or something. So kind of my idea here, we've got a piece of copper fuel line type stuff. Put that in there, and see, to keep it from going all the way in and then restricting, to keep it from doing that, I'm going to put a little bit of a flare here so it just sets in. And I'm going to crimp the end a little bit so it really restricts it. And we're going to see what that does. And I suspect that will cure our problem. But I'm going to give that a whirl right now and see what the hell happens. Oh, and then for all those concerned about my well-being and health, safety is, I'm going to say, our second priority here. I'm not going to say first. We've got boots, jumpsuit, jacket, long sleeves, so we're pretty well protected here. And then I've got respirator, I've got dollar store swim cap to keep the sand out of my hair, I've got welding gloves, I've got my hat to keep my head warm, and I have swim goggles. And that leaves about 1 square inch of my face exposed to anything, which makes for a relatively not painful experience. And my teeth are not gritty, so that's telling me that it's doing a good job of filtering the dust. But yeah, so for all those concerned about my health, I have it under control. I think we're all right. But yeah, so this is the setup. Seems to be working out pretty well. More as more happens.